Why my face looks so red. Especially compared to right here. Why my hands look red? No, they don't. Now they do. What is happening? Hi everybody, my name is Rosalie, and welcome back to my channel, Back to Chubby. Last week, I missed my weigh-in for the first time since I started my channel, which I figured was probably gonna happen. I haven't weighed myself since I got back just because I'm kind of nervous about it. I feel like if I didn't gain, I'll be impressed. And if I lost anything at all, it'll be a miracle. Last week before we left, I was doing okay, making healthy choices, I thought. Thursday on Thanksgiving, as far as calories go, I did okay. I had about 200 calories left at the end of the day, but as far as sodium goes, I was just off the charts. My goal is to stay under 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, and I think I was at like 5,300 milligrams of sodium, but I was only at like 2,200 calories, which is higher than I normally am, but it's still under what my goal is for the day. My goal is close to 2,400, and then I didn't drink enough water that day. I think I only had like 1 bottle of water and then like a little cup at dinner. And most families have some drama. That's normal. And my family certainly has its fair share, but usually it's just sort of like set aside during the holidays and we all pretend everything is fine for that day, or at the very worst, the people who have the problem with each other just don't talk and pretend like each other doesn't exist throughout the day, and it keeps everything pretty quiet and calm. This year though, for whatever reason, things got really heated and awkward between a few of my family members, which I've mentioned before that I have some social anxiety issues, and so I felt really anxious and really flustered, and it was really hard for me to not just emotionally eat. That's one of the things I do. It's one of the tools I've employed throughout the years. That part of what contributed to this is that when I get anxious or upset, I eat to comfort myself. And so there are these people like screaming at each other a few feet away from me, and I was sitting at the table where all the pie was out. I don't really even like pie, but it was the closest I've gotten to binging in a while. Like before then, my calories were still only at like 1,700. And so I started taking like tiny little pieces of pie and just eating the filling of them, like what a quarter of a piece of pie would be. And I'm not proud of it and I'm not happy with it. But I recognize why it happened, and it made me realize that I still need to work on getting some other tools to cope with anxiety, and that I still haven't gotten away from some of my bad habits as much as I want to. But that's okay, right? I mean, like, I recognize it, and now I can do something about it, I guess. Okay, so I got really close to binging. It wasn't, well, I mean, I guess it was kind of a binge. I mean, it wasn't out of control. Like, once I realized what I was doing, I stopped, and I made myself stop. That, I feel like, was a step in the right direction, because normally if I go on a binge and I recognize that I'm binging, it's like, well, the whole day's ruined, I'm just gonna keep eating. Or I will feel so bad about having binged that I just keep eating because I feel bad. And that's not cool. In the past, I wouldn't even recognize that I was binging. I would just do it. And so overall, not great, but better than in the past. The rest of my problem was the rest of the weekend. Being under my calories, but having too much sodium and not drinking enough water was pretty much the theme of my weekend. Like normally I drink 3 or 4 of these in a day. I think I was getting in 1 a day. On Friday, Black Friday, which I talked about in my last video, we did go out to Olive Garden, and originally I'd planned on getting the salmon, but I had already had leftover fish all the week before and fish the week before that. But I still looked at the menu before we went out, and I got the portobello ravioli, and that was really, really good. And I got my salad with the dressing on the side and didn't have any cheese in it, and I stuck to 2 breadsticks and I tried to be really good. Overall, the thing came in at 1,400 calories and 4,300 milligrams of sodium. Of course it did. And I had 2 glasses of water while we were there, and then that's all I had for the day. I didn't eat before we went out because I knew what I would be having was pretty packed with sodium. And then we ended up not going anywhere for dinner that night because we ate lunch later than usual. And overall, for it being Black Friday, it went better than I thought it was going to because most people were out earlier in the morning and we went out a little bit later in the day. It was okay, I guess. Then on Saturday, I had completely forgotten that I was supposed to go to a wedding with my mom. So we went to the wedding, and then instead of doing a reception, we went out to Red Lobster. Again, I basically planned what I was gonna have before we got there, and like the wedding was beautiful, and I saw a bunch of people I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But at Red Lobster, again, I came in at like 1,600 calories and 5,000 milligrams of sodium. It's just ridiculous. And I got some of the lowest sodium things on the menu. Like I got grilled shrimp and salmon and rice and a side salad. And so that had quite a bit of sodium in it, but the rest of it came from the cheddar bay biscuits. I actually went in knowing that the thing I wanted the most was those stupid cheddar bay biscuits, so I put those in my Fitness Pal first and then planned around them. So again, under my calories, way, way over my sodium, and all I had to drink that day was a glass of water at the restaurant. I don't know why. I was just having a terrible time getting my water in. Sunday, we had stuff at home, and it wasn't nearly as bad. I think I was right at my sodium limit, but I still only had like 2 bottles of water. Yesterday, we just sort of made do throughout the day with random things. And again, I was like 200 over my sodium limit, but only at 1,900 calories. So my calories haven't been as low as I want, and they were sort of off my calorie cycle plan, but that's fine. With calorie cycling, you can do that. And so this week we are back down to around 1,400 calories. And not only is it cheaper, but I feel a little better. Also, I don't think Josh has noticed yet that there's no meat this week. I tried to do recipes that you could easily add meat to. We are still having eggs, but there's no meat this week. Anyway, I mentioned that I saw a bunch of people I used to know at the wedding, and some of them are people that I see periodically and I wasn't that embarrassed about, and some of them are also bigger people. One person I saw that I really did not expect to, and I really don't know how he knew the bride or groom at all, but one of my choir teachers from high school was there, who I haven't seen since I was like a sophomore. So that was awkward, but I mean, we aren't close enough that it was that embarrassing for me. It was just weird. So I mean, it was weird, but I didn't have some of this anxiety issues that I've had in the past going out to see people that I'm really familiar with or people that I used to know really well. It was okay. I didn't really think about it or focus on it. But the night before that, while we were still out shopping, we stopped at a gas station and I went in to get some water. I was paying and turning to leave, and I realized that the guy who'd been standing next to me, like there was one counter here to pay and another just like 2 feet away. And I realized that the guy who came in and was standing next to me was someone that I used to be really good friends with. He was one of my best friends for a long time. Like, I think I first met him in 5th or 6th grade. And we hung out all through middle school and most of high school. And it's one of the only people I went back to visit after I started college. He was at my wedding. And we sort of lost touch, which, as I mentioned in another video, is mostly my fault. And I have a lot of really conflicting emotions about seeing him, because he didn't recognize me. I mean, he certainly didn't recognize me from the back or the side. And like, I looked at him, and it was obviously he just, like, you know, had glanced at a stranger out of the corner of his eye and didn't recognize me at all. And so I just sort of like paid for my stuff and scrambled out of there before he could recognize me. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't smile or nod or anything. And part of me is really, like, I think the fact that he didn't recognize me at all says a lot about what I've done to myself. So I was kind of embarrassed by that and kind of ashamed by that, but I was also really relieved he didn't recognize that it was me. And I thought of sending him a message on Facebook or posting on his wall or something and being like, hey, I think I saw you at Quick Trip, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't sure. Bye. And I decided not to, because then he might put together the person he saw with me. So again, obviously still have some issues I need to work on. Like, even just talking about it, I feel really anxious, kind of. And I don't really want to talk about it. And part of me wants to cry, and the rest of me is like, you did this yourself, and you didn't talk to him, and you didn't say anything. So it's like, it's all on me. Like, there's no point feeling sorry for myself when I did what I wanted to do, I guess. So, I don't know. Anyway, the gist of it is that this past weekend made me realize that there's some things I still need to work on. And I think I did better than I expected not turning to food to comfort me. But I didn't do as well as I could have. Didn't do as well as I should have with my water. So I'm sure it'll all be reflected this week on the scale when I weigh in on Friday. But we'll see. So for this week, for the meal prep, I had to try really hard not to overcorrect. I don't know if anybody else is familiar with that. Like, you have a bad day or a binge or a bad week, then you feel the next week you need to just not eat anything or eat very, very little or go kind of crazy with the diet. And so I'm still at 1,400 calories per day, which we've talked about in several other videos is pretty low, but it'll go back up. But I had to resist the urge. Like, while I was making my meal plan, I got it up to like 750, and I just about called it good and just stopped there, which I know is another unhealthy mental habit I need to break. And when we got home this weekend, I had to resist the urge to just not eat anything for at least a day. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong with fasting if it's purposeful and intentional, but I wanted to just not eat because I felt gross and fat. That's not the way to go about it. Anyway, most of my protein and fat this week comes from eggs and nuts. And then for the most part, a lot of the food is plant-based. I mean, I guess I'll just show you. I'll just show you the meal plan and then talk about it afterwards. For breakfast, I'm having some overnight oats again, so I'm just going to add some oats to a cup, and then the night before I'm going to eat it, I'll add a cup of almond milk and a tablespoon of peanut butter. You can also add some sweetener if you want, but you don't have to. Then I'll just mix it up, put it in the fridge over the night, and in the morning you can either eat it cold or heat it up for a minute or two, which is probably what I'll do. And then I'll have it with a banana. For lunch, I didn't bother filming this because it was pretty much just chopping and measuring, but I'm going to have some broccoli and hummus and some eggs, pretty quick and simple. For snacks, I'm going to have some nuts and some dried fruit, as well as an apple. Again, pretty simple. For dinner, I'm going to make some vegetable stew with some carrots, some onions, some chopped up mushrooms, some celery, some diced tomatoes, some lima beans, some green beans, and some corn, as well as some potatoes, and then just 2 cups of water. While it cooks down, the rest of your broth is going to come from your vegetables. And then just go ahead and season it how you want, mix it up, and then cook it on low for 4 hours in a crock pot. The more canned vegetables you add or use, the more sodium it's going to have, but this is really simple and fast, I think. And that's it. It might not look like much, but there's so much fiber in all this food that I had no problem staying full all day. So that's all there is to it. If you buy pre-cut up stuff like for the vegetable stew, it would go a lot faster. I think everything I did took me maybe 3 hours, and that was just like with chopping vegetables up. If there's anything I would change about it, it would probably be to add more tomatoes. I guess I should also clarify, I'm not going full vegetarian right now. I just, after all of the processed stuff that I had this week, I just felt like it would be better to do some simpler stuff. And after this past weekend, I don't feel good. Like, my guts have let me know that they are unhappy with me. So the first thing I'm trying to do is drink enough water and then eat some simpler things to hopefully sort of clean me out, if you know what I mean. And either have cramps or I've got a new cyst forming. Either way, there's some pain there, and I'm not looking forward to weigh-in this Friday. I would like to be positive and happy and have a good outlook, and I'm trying, but I just realized there's some things I need to work on. Plus, like, this room and my office are clean, and the rest of the house is a wreck, and that makes me feel sort of bad and depressed. I'm one of those people, like, when my house is not clean, I feel down, and then when I feel down, I don't want to clean. And so it can sort of spiral out of control sometimes. So I think after I am done recording this and I get it uploaded to my computer, I'm going to try and at least clean one room, and then hopefully that'll make me feel like cleaning more, and then I can maybe get my Christmas stuff up or something. I feel like this is also going to be a really long video, so if it is, I apologize about that. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you guys feel like you did okay, or at least came out of it feeling okay. Be sure to subscribe if you want to follow along with me on my weight loss journey and see what the damage is this Friday when I weigh in. You can find the meal plan, the shopping list, and the nutrition information for everything I made this week in my meal plan on my blog, which I will link to down below. I'll also link to the meal prep containers I use, and you can also find me on various social media platforms with the username backtochubby, all one word. Same on all of them. I hope to see you guys again on Friday. Thank you guys.